Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to a practical application of astrology. I know it's been a while since I recorded one of those, but today I was very gently and clearly nudged by the spirit to record one of those. I don't even know what particularly I'm supposed to share because my life is a work in progress right now, as I'm sure it's for many people, but here I am. Actually, I'm recording this right before the Leo new moon on Thursday. This will be published on Friday, and at the time when I'm recording, this moon is still in the sign of Cancer, actually right now trining my Saturn and still in a trine with my South Node. So I guess this is an opportunity for healing, to share a little bit of what I'm going through and how I'm processing these energies. And of course, apart from all of that, we have this square to the nodes from Venus. Sun today is making a trine to Saturn, Neptune. Tomorrow when you're watching this, or whenever you're watching this, Sun is in opposition with Pluto. Uranus is sextile in Sun. So this is all affecting this new moon in Leo, which we are experiencing today on Thursday when I'm recording this here in Bulgaria at 22:11. So I'm keeping that time. I like that time. So anyway, before I get into my little things going on over here, I would like to let everybody know that my 25% of seasonal sale now ended. However, if it is your birthday month, if you are celebrating your birthday or is your birthday season, if you are a Leo, then you get 25% of any of my services apart from the mentoring classes. So this is available anytime. So whenever it's your birthday, you can book any reading with me, 25% off. And also if you are buying the reading for someone else whose birthday it is, so you're gifting it as a birthday gift, then the same offer applies. You can find more details on my website, moonlightsoul369.com. And also the last thing, my co-creation with my soulmate, with my beloved Aaron, is still up and running for the introductory price. So if you would like to book a session with us together, it's called the alchemical metamorphosis process. I had to think because Mercury is retrograde. Then you are welcome to book with us. And like I said, the introductory price is still ongoing until 8/8 portal. And after that, the price will go back to what it was intended to be. So that out of the way, let's just dive in. What are the energies? So like I said, I don't particularly have any script to talk about as usual with practical application of astrology, but I'm sure many people at the moment are experiencing the past and the future colliding in a present moment. We are being pulled into these directions, especially with Jupiter being in Cancer. We have a very strong intuition, intuitive guidance, and that's why I feel, like recording this before the Leo moon, new moon, even though Sun is already in Leo, we already are in Leo season, and happy birthday to all Leos. Cancer, moon is still in the sign of Cancer. That's the sign of her rulership at the time when I'm recording this. By the time you're watching this, that will no longer be the case. And moon is influencing Jupiter. And Jupiter is how we grow. Jupiter is the planet of growth. And of course, Jupiter is also connected to North Node because it's a traditional ruler of Pisces. And we know that Neptune, Saturn both are retrograde at the moment, soon to be joined by Chiron as well. Mercury is retrograde. Of course, Pluto is retrograde. So we have a lot of internal processing going on. And the way this is going on, I already shared in my previous videos practical application of astrology, even though they're not very frequent these days, but that's because there is so much processing going on. So it's like, what am I going to tell you? Oh yeah, I'm still in somewhere in the processing, in the process of metamorphosis, where my old life is gone, literally being resetted back to the 0 point in every area of my life. But the new is not yet here. And this is also something that I experienced recently with my beloved coming to Europe and now having to have to go back to America because of situations that are connected to the past that are not yet resolved and need to be resolved before the new chapter opens for both of us. And it's the same for me, having to revisit certain pattern and dynamics connected to people close to me that are keeping me stuck in a past. And this is what I really feel is going on here, because of course moon in Cancer, it's all the memories, the past, the ancestors, also the soul contracts, we are experiencing that are really being revisited at the moment, especially with this Mercury retrograde in Leo. What is your authentic expression? We are all being pulled, with this Uranus in Gemini and Saturn, Neptune in Aries retrograde, Pluto in Aquarius retrograde. We are all being pulled into this new direction directions, like who do I want to be, what do I want to experience, what do I want my life to become. But at the same time, we are still right here, right now, and what we can, most of us, observe and experience in our everyday reality is the after effects of the past, choices, and obviously the remnants of the past times, whether our past lives, the ancestors, everything that got unresolved, unprocessed by the ancestors have been passed on to us, because they took it as far as they could with what they had available at the time. Obviously, alongside with the lessons, they also passed on the gifts. So once again, we have to keep reminding ourselves, it's not just good doom and gloom like these ancestors, but also we were many of them too. So everything that is unresolved is coming up for the review, and especially with all these retrograde planets. And we know that we entered into this week with Mars South Node conjunction. So this is where Mars is how Pluto acts consciously. I mentioned that many times. This is where our intention is focused. Virgo, like what are we adjusting? How have we learned? What did we learn from the past? With this Mercury as the ruler of Mars, South Node, Venus, Uranus. Mercury retrograde in Leo, ruled by the Sun, and we have the new moon in Leo, right? Sun in the sign of his rulership. The one and only new moon in Leo, ruled by the Sun. So this is very profound, because what is Sun? Sun is all about your life force. It's your authentic expression, and Leo is all about creativity. It's about authenticity, right? So what do we want to create? Who do we want to be? And like I said, we have these pullings, this inner guidance, this intuition, these desires, that are being reawakened, especially now in the Leo season, all this fire and all these planets being in this masculine sign, once again, Pluto and Uranus in the air signs, and Saturn, Neptune in a fire signs, Mercury in a fire sign, Venus in an air sign. There is a lot of this masculine energy. So we are being initiated into this new, like, okay, let's just revive this fire of creation, the desire that is keeping us want to experience more of life that to enjoy, like what is there yet to discover. The Sagittarius is coming through, with the obviously Jupiter being in the sign of Cancer, become bigger, more expanded, more connected, feel more. This is also why many of us are experiencing, like heartbreaks, and old grief is being resurfaced and coming to the surface. And also, like I mentioned, the patterns of the past, they're not just going to disappear on their own. So with Mars now being in this new phase conjunction with South Node, and Venus is still in the square with the lunar nodes pointing to this North Node, ruled by Jupiter in Cancer and Neptune in Aries retrograde. And yesterday, when I'm recording this on Thursday, yesterday on Wednesday, Venus and Mars had their square, Venus being a sign of Gemini, all about the choice, because Venus was reborn during her retrograde from Aries, Pisces back to Aries, conjunct Saturn, Neptune, and North Node 3 times, so we are being reborn. Our desires, needs, values are changing, the way we want to relate is changing to the world, to life, how we want life to relate to us, people to relate to us. Everything is changing. With Saturn, Neptune in Aries, Saturn as the physical form, the matrix, and Neptune as the source, being both in Aries. This is a very new cycle for humanity. So again, going back to the patterns of the past, because with the Virgo is the human experience, the human's journey, hero's journey, and Mercury currently being a sign of Leo, ruled by the Sun. And, like I said, sextile from Uranus, opposition from Pluto, trine from Saturn, Neptune to this new moon in Leo. We are being encouraged to look at these patterns, because Mercury is the ruler of Mars and the South Node, and obviously also Uranus and Venus. Look at these patterns, these patterns that are keeping us hostage, these stories we tell ourselves, these belief systems, these ways how we look at situation and keep identifying it exactly the same way. And then the same, situation happens again. And then the same is the opportunity to redefine that way we see the situation, but we choose like, oh no, because the ego mind straight away fills in the gaps and say, oh yeah, this is because of this, and this is why, because this is how it happened last time, and this is what it meant. So now that's why these situations this in a sense karma thing are coming around so quickly, and frequently, and you might feel, this is how it feels for me anyway, like on a roller coaster, like, oh, I thought I already gone through this, I thought I already resolved this, and bam, next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, because we are on this fast track with all these retrograde planets, fast track to burn through this karma, to burn through these old patterns, to burn through these contracts that are keeping us dragged to the past versions of ourselves, this identity, Jupiter in Cancer is all about expansion of the sense of self, your true self, not all these labels that we adopted and being projected onto, and then we think that this is who I am. The reflection is not who you are. This is just the role you wish to play, or you agreed to play, but now everything is changing, with the Saturn to be moving into the sign of Pisces for the final time on the 2nd of September, which is the day Mercury enters Virgo. And it's right before this the first eclipse we have in fall, technically still summer season. The first eclipse will be in Pisces, right? Pisces, and that will be on the 7th of September, the full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces, and right before that, the day before that, Uranus will station retrograde in the sign of Gemini, again ruled by Mercury. Mercury will be in Virgo at that time, in the sign of his rulership and exaltation, traditional astrology wise. So this is the opportunity to let the past go, to change this pattern, to free ourselves from this old karmic debts, in a sense, these cords. And it's not necessarily your karma. This is the thing, it's not necessarily like, oh yeah, I have to atone for all the sins that I've ever, made, and all these things that I've done bad to other people or whatever. No, in some cases maybe yes, like obviously we all have a baggage that we carry from the past life to a certain extent, but in some cases no, because you just might be that very evolved soul, that this is your specialization and this is something you can tackle this life. And I'm sure I already mentioned this, so I don't want to repeat myself, but yeah, karma is a very interesting thing, and obviously everybody understands it differently, but all in all, it is the energy that is out of balance, whether I caused it, you caused it, your dad caused it, your grandpa caused it, or somebody else caused it, doesn't matter. The point is that this energy has to be balanced. That's the Libra thing. That's why when we had the opposition, just like we have now with this new moon in Leo and Pluto, in Aquarius, and this already got activated by Mars, when Mars had a triple opposition with Pluto, by Mercury, when Mercury had a only single opposition with Pluto, and now we have a Sun, and then obviously eventually Venus gonna get there and oppose Pluto. So this is all this old version of ourselves, the new version of ourselves. Who were you told to be or to become when you were a child, when we came into this world with this authentic signature, with this authentic essence of who we are, without all the conditioning, all the projection, all the labeling. When the child looks around itself, everything is a miracle, everything is a wonder, until the parents say like, oh yeah, this is a stone, this is a book, and before the child was thinking like, oh my god, this is million different things, I can use it for million different things. This is a launching pad for my, I don't know, my teddy bear. Like for child there is no limitations, but then we all been educated and limited to a single definition, put into the box, this is who you are. And then they say, oh, who you want to be when you grow up, you have to choose your title, choose your degree, choose your masters, choose your occupation, choose your title in a relational dynamic, whatever. It's just this limiting these boxes. You're being put into all of these boxes. But guess what, now with this Pluto in Aquarius and Uranus as the Pluto's ruler, modern ruler, being a sign of Gemini, no, we are choosing something different. I don't want any bloody label, and I can say for myself, and I know this is like for many people it will sound like completely utopian, I don't want any bloody citizenship or passport or ID card or anything. I don't want to be a property of any government, of any dead institution and a corporation. And this is obviously a completely different topic and rabbit hole that I'm like brushing over here. But it's just completely insane. And even we know that the law that applies to us is not actually supposed to be applied to humans. This is a maritime law, it's not the human law, right? But we were all being corporized by our birth certificates. So now obviously, we are all a property. So then the law can apply. But anyway, that's going into completely different rabbit hole. But that's what I mean. That, with all of these Uranus being a sign of Gemini, Mercury retrograde in Leo as the ruler of also Venus, Mars, and South Node currently. We want to change these old patterns because they don't fit, because they're limiting. They're limiting us and they're making us feel, well, I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice because these are my labels. I don't have a choice. But with the Jupiter in the sign of Cancer, and obviously influenced by the moon, every lunation, new moon, full moon, blah blah blah, we want to expand, we want to break free from this definition, we want to go beyond this definition, because the North Node in Pisces, traditional ruled by Jupiter, modern ruled by Neptune in Aries, currently retrograde, is saying there is more. This now lost meaning. We are out of Piscean age. We now creating an Aquarian age dynamic, even though we have no clue what that actually means. Because if we changing the pattern, and if we are being taken out of everything we know, pushed into the unknown, then what is there? Well, is the void, right? Is the unlimited potential of what it can be, but at the same time, it is not yet manifest. So it's a bit scary, like, all this dark hole, like, what do I know? What if I don't like it and stuff? So that's what I mean. So this is what I am going through in my personal experience, in this after effect of my second Pluto square, which only took place. I don't even remember if it was this month, last month, because the time just kind of doesn't make any sense to me anymore. Sometimes I feel like, oh my God, one day feels like a week, and sometimes it feels like one week feels like the longest month, So the time is irrelevant at the moment, but, experiencing all these after effects of all this planetary dance, this cosmic dance that are going on in the sky. We are all being impacted, and because the nodes are in a Virgo Pisces, which is the axis of the soul realm and the human realm. Soul realm is the Pisces, the all that is, the spirit, and Virgo is the manifested form of the spirit. We are all impacted one way or another. So once again, the way it's showing up in my life is that my life is being put on this, like a pause, like this necessary pause where all this old stuff has to be cleared. All this old stuff had to be cleared because it's not a frequency match. It cannot come with into the future. And that's for me, that's for my beloved, that's for people that we are in relations with, that we are connected to based on the, contracts with the family relationships and whatnot, all of these things. And it's necessary to redefine all of these things, to say, I don't want to play that role for you anymore, and I don't want you to play that role for me anymore, because I'm done. I don't want to be bound by the contracts of the past, to keep being trapped in these karma loops, of repeating the same pattern by trying to fix, trying to neutralize the same energy. I want to break free from this. I want to now focus on something different. I want to create a life that feels different, that holds a deeper meaning and holds an excitement, because now, like, how most people feel is probably like this drudgery, like, oh my God, I just have to go through this. I don't want to, but I have to go through this. Even for me, my summer turned out completely differently to what it was expected or planned to be. Same as last year, just different circumstances, but again, same energy. Like, well, you can plan all you want, but, at the end of the day, you're not in charge. So yeah, everything turned out completely differently to what it was planned. And I mean, I know now, 1 year later, that whatever transpired last year actually turned out to be perfect, even though it wasn't what I planned. Now, whatever was planned for this year and didn't transpire, maybe 1 year from now, I will look back and go, oh yeah, but that was perfect. It was exactly what had to take place, and I'm sure that will be the case, because what do I know? I don't have the whole 10 years ahead, understanding of that, but my higher self understands where I'm going and what's going on over here. So that's what I mean. So the life at the moment is being put on a pause because this old pattern has to be revisited. And with now Mars being in a new phase conjunction with the South Node, we have to change, we have to change. We have to learn from the past, because this Mercury is now in Leo, and it's saying, well, it's time to create something new, a new story. This is still the Sagittarius Decan, I believe Mercury is on. So it's time to create this new story, because Jupiter is in Cancer. It's saying it's time to expand. It's time to go beyond these labels, and these contracts and this memory of the past, that this is who I always was. We keep limiting ourselves by saying, but this is who I am. This is who I always was. This is what I always done. But is it really the truth? we are all multi-dimensional being, if any, well, and I know there are people who can do that, but if we could like just open the Akashic record right here right now and say, oh yeah, I was this, I was that, I was that, I was that, I was that. And it's not like every lifetime you were a hermit, or every lifetime you were the disco girl or something. You were everything. I was everything. We all were everything. So that's the thing. So right now in this incarnation, I, feel like, oh, this is who I am. But this is just yet another role that I'm playing, that my soul wants to grow through. So right here, right now, we are learning to attune, with this Jupiter in Cancer, which is all about this intuition and all these signs in this fire and this air, but in this higher expression, this higher mind, this higher vibration of this, which is from the heart place, with this Mercury, as I mentioned, let me repeat again, Mercury being the ruler of the Uranus, being the ruler of the Venus, being the ruler of Mars, being the ruler of South Node. Mars is how Pluto acts consciously. Pluto is ruled by Uranus, which is ruled by Mercury. Where is Mercury? Mercury is in Leo, the heart place, the authentic expression, that what sets your heart on fire, that creates this desire for this new direction, that creates a desire to go and explore something different, to cultivate a different experience by walking on this earth, right? And then obviously we know that Venus is once again going to become a ruler of Uranus when Uranus moves back into the sign of Taurus for the final time at the end of this year. So, and we know this Venus is now in Gemini, square in Mars. So she's saying, okay, well, I want to make a different choice because different things matter to me. The things that matter to my ancestors, the needs and values, some of them I keep, but some of them I don't, because it's not who I am. It's not my authentic expression. So in this year 9, which, I talked about many times, I mentioned many times, this year of Hermit, this year of Virgo, because Hermit is the Virgo and South Node obviously being there, and all the rest of it. In this year number 9, we are culminating, we are ending these cycles, because the year 10 next year is the reset point. As I mentioned multiple times this year, that the wheel of fortune and the 0 and the 1, the Fool and the Magician. So this is a preparation. So that's why it feels like, at least this is how it feels for me, that is this constant exhale, inhale, like I inhale this new me, this new energy, this new direction, this new desire, and then there is an experience that confirms this, like my time in Mexico with my soulmate, and and then we separated, and then I have to walk down the memory lane, and then I feel like an imposter because I feel like, oh, but this life doesn't fit anymore, like I am not happy experiencing this life anymore, and obviously be here now, like how can we still make the most out of it? But you can obviously bloom as a hibiscus flower even in winter in somebody's greenhouse, but you're gonna bloom differently as a hibiscus flower when you are in this beautiful, lush, exotic place, right? So so you can bloom where you planted, but sometimes you need to plant yourself somewhere different, where you feel is a better place for you, where you feel that, oh yeah, this is where I was born. But understanding the soul contracts, this is not necessarily my soul family, this is my birth family, which is the launching pad, which is here to help me to become who I came here to be. And by me becoming that, I am going to heal this bloodline. I'm going to help it to transcend the limitations and patterns of the past. And this is for everyone. We came here to have our experience, but we didn't come here just for ourselves. We came here for one another. We came here for the collective consciousness. We came here for source. We came here for cosmos. We came here for our Sasis family. There are so many things that are going on at the same time. So in the right here, right now, under these effects of this Leo new moon being sextile by Uranus, opposed by Pluto, and trine by both Saturn and Neptune retrograde, by the way, Pluto retrograde, of course, this is a huge energy. This is a huge energy with the still, like I said, after effects of Venus square in the nodes, Venus square in Mars, and Mars, still in a conjunction with South Node, opposition with North Node. These are big energies. And also Chiron is about to station retrograde next week. Chiron is the key between Saturn and Uranus. It's saying, what is the key? What is the key of these new pathways, this new passage, and we know that we cannot see the whole way forward, because the future is not predictable. The pattern is being broken. You don't know where you're going. You need to unlock the next locket, like there is like these stations, and you need to unlock the next door to see what it will reveal. So that's why this long-term planning it's completely futile. And I'm talking to myself because obviously, you know, me and my soulmate, we are making plans for after summer when we reunite again. But what's gonna happen is, you know, like, it's up to the destiny, because we can plan all we want, but sometimes, because there are other things and other people and other contracts involved, and it's just very hard. It's very, very hard to make any predictions, and this is why astrology will become futile with regards to predictions, especially for individuals. Collective energy maybe, but it will become less and less accurate, less and less accurate, because things are changing so quickly. And it depends, like, okay, am I going to be able to open this locket, open this door, you know, like by move past that lesson? Am I able to going to be am I going to be able to change that pattern so this can open, so then the next stage of my journey can unveil? And in one way, this is, you know, we can, you know, like, there is an aspect of us that is scared, because it's like, well, but I don't know what's gonna happen, you know, what's the point, you know, how can I plan anything? Then I have nothing to look forward to. But then there is the other aspect of us that is excited, because it's like, well, I don't know what's gonna happen, anything is possible, anything might happen. And that is more of the Aquarian age frequency, you know. Even these new kids, you know, this new generation, they are much less tied to this need for knowing and the need for the absolute, the need for certainty. That's the way we were being brought up. But these younger kids, you know, these Capricorns, and especially these Aquariuses, but Capricorns, because they're like, well, I'm gonna create it, I don't care what you say. And you know, in the Aquariuses, they will be a completely different breed, these babies, when they're born now, at the moment when they grow up. So everything is changing, and it's just so, in a sense, hard, but in a sense liberating as well, because it's like, I just don't know. You know, I think this has become the most frequent sentence I'm using. I just don't know. I just don't know what's going to happen. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know who I'm becoming. But what I do know is that it's not where I was, it's not who I was, you know, all of this now lost meaning. So like I said, everybody's experiencing different things in their chart and being affected differently, but this is showing up in one way or another for everyone, where we feeling that I am not where I was, but I am not yet where I'm going. And I know even the few people that I follow and still allow to influence me to a certain extent on social media, one of them, singer Milan Moritz, who I listen to very, very often. Her singing, she channels the angelic tune frequencies and stuff. She's not much older than I, so she's going through similar stages in her life, and she calls it the sacred in between. You know, it's a sacred space, sacred in between space, where, yeah, you're not who you were, you don't, you know, you already moved past that, but you're not yet where you're going, and you that in that in between. And it's a sacred place, because you are really in that cocoon, in that place of becoming something completely different. And yeah, and the ego is scared, because it's like, oh my god, but I can't control it, I can't manipulate it, I can't predict it, I can't plan around it, you know. But then there is an aspect of us that is like, oh yeah, perfect, you know, perfect, we break in the pattern, we go in somewhere we haven't been before. And of course then we can't know it, because if we would have known that it will be replication of the past of what was. So yeah, so I think this is all I want to say on this matter, because obviously I don't want to go too much into personal details that involve other people and their privacy and stuff. But energetically, with the new moon in Leo, you are seeding your new authentic expression and your new sense of purpose based on, well, what is my heart telling me? You know, how do I want to feel? Yeah, there is so much noise, and there is so much chaos, and there is so much distraction going on out there in this greater world. But in my own inner world, where I rule, where I'm the sun, you know, the center of my universe, my little micro universe, not the universe as per se, of course not, but my little microcosm, you know, this is my world. So who do I want to be, and how do I want to feel? And I really struggle with that, because I have such a strong ego mind. Like, I'm so mental that it's very hard for me, you know, to try to override it and go like, oh yeah, but let me just visualize to be someone else and live someone else. And then the ego straight away like, but that's not possible, you know. So this is the mastery, the self-mastery. And it takes time, you know, it takes time. It takes a lot of digestion, a lot of healing. It's a step-by-step process, and the future is unknown, because the Virgo is all not about perfection. It's a misconception, it's a misunderstanding. Your journey is perfect. You being imperfect is perfect, you know. So that is the part of the perfection connected to Virgo, which resonates with the soul, that all in its imperfection is perfect because the soul doesn't polarize. You know, for the source, everything is great. Good, bad, ugly, doesn't matter, you know? So that's the thing. Like, we need to redefine what this old archetype mean, because in the way we are living in the world now and how we are learning to experience reality, these old definitions are very limiting. They are very limiting, which is why Saturn is in Aries, right? It's saying like, well, it's time to break this definition, take them down, you know? With Mars now, you know, as the ruler being in Virgo, like, it's time to learn, it's time to learn. Okay, well, you know, what are we learning? Especially in this, you know, last lunation being the full moon in Capricorn that we had, and now obviously the next one will be the full moon in Aquarius, and we know that the next moon after that in Aquarius will be an eclipse, and the next new moon in Leo a year from now will be an eclipse. You know, so these are big times, and we know that we head in for these two new moons in Virgo, the 0 and 29-degree moons, which we are experiencing at the end of August and end of September, and the second of the two, the 29-degree one, will be an eclipse. So that's what I mean. So these are very, you can say, destined, karmic times, but in a sense, the astrology is helping us because it's nudging us forward in the direction that is the direction that eventually we turn out to be perfect, because it's your experience, and your experience is perfect, whatever you choose in a sense, but it can be less painful if you just go with the flow, which sometimes is so hard. So anyway, guys, I'm just gonna leave it at that. I want to pull some cards because there were some decks that were calling to me very strongly, which don't even make any sense, but I'm going to start this one that is on my mind a lot recently for myself and the clients I've been connecting with, the Cosmic Crossroads. It's a deck from Lynn. I have her deck, The Inner Child, as well, and I really love her artwork. Or, you know, her decks anyway. So the Cosmic Crossroads, because this is perhaps where a lot of people might feel they are, at the Cosmic Crossroads. So let's see. I know I already used this deck once before. Okay, well, few cards straight away jumped out too. Okay, let's see. Beginning, yeah, no kidding. Even though there is a full moon there, but, you know, she is talking about the beginning and the water. Yeah, the creation of the new universe. And even yesterday I had a client and I felt guided to use this deck, and that was also what was coming up strongly for her, and she carried the collective energy, so I'm sure it's appropriate to mention the full moon in Leo in February, because by that point Neptune is back in the sign of Aries, Saturn is moving back into the sign of Aries on Valentine's Day 14th, and that's actually 14th of February was also the day when Mars conjunct Pluto in the sign of Aquarius for the first time last year in 2024. I remember that date. So yeah, so next year on the 14th of February 2026, Saturn will re-enter Aries, and yeah, before that we are going to have the full moon in Leo, which is not an eclipse. The Aquarius moon will be the eclipse. So yeah, let's see what's going to transpire between now and the full moon in Leo. Yeah, so what are we creating? What are we seeding? New beginnings, right? This is a number 3, the creation, the card of Jupiter, the card number of Jupiter expansion, and you can see the rainbow and the water. Jupiter is in Cancer. We're going to create and expand through going through the muck of the past and just letting it run through our system this one more time or a few more times, and just like, oh gosh, again, you know. So yeah, that's what I was going to say, you know, when I got distracted by my own speech. That yeah, I don't want to be where I am right now. I don't want to go through this summer alone, you know, being again separated from my love, you know, but it has to be done. It has to be done because there are natural steps they have to take place, right? Again, we cannot get to the third lock when you are just at the first one. I was trying to actually explain it to my boyfriend, and I said that it's like the Panama Canal, and you guys that cruise, if you've done the Panama Canal crossing, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You cannot just go smooth one-way direction, you know. It's not a smooth process with any of these canals, you know. There are obviously many of them, Suez Canal as well, but Panama Canal is usually the most famous one for this. You know, you cannot just go through the canal like in a one smooth crossing. No, there are all these locks, and it takes like hours and hours. So that's what I'm saying. It's like that, you know, we cannot go from one end to the other end of the Panama Canal without going through the locks, and they take time, you know, when the water is being brought in, taken out, da 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 da. So yeah, so the water, you know, with the Jupiter in Cancer and all these lunations that we are going to be having during that year, Jupiter is in a sign of Cancer, all the new and a full moon. We have to go through all the locks to get where we're going, and there is no final destination. So, you know, so that's why, like, let's not get caught up on the perfection and the top of the mountain. So yeah, so this is the beginning. So we are the beginning of the journey of that something new that we are creating, right, from inside out. And the other one was the betrayal, which is number 4. And this card has been coming up quite a lot. You know, where have I been betraying myself? You know, where have I been playing small? You know, and again, the owl, learn from the wisdom of the past. You know, like, where did I sacrifice? You know, this is like a self-sacrifice, the number 4, which is the Saturn, you know, Saturn, again, the karma, the contracts, you know, feeling bound, you know, and in the tarot 4 is the Emperor. You can change it. You can always change it, you know. So betrayal, let's stop betraying ourselves. Let's be wise and learn from the past. You know, there are contracts that you cannot win. You know, there are these collective contracts that are playing out. And at the bottom is the confusion, of course. A lot of people are feeling confused. This in the year 9, I think this card also came up. A lot of people are confused, you know, and this person is like a ghost, kind of. Because the past is like, the ghosts of the past are still here. So that's why it's like the hungry ghost, you know, that wanted to be fed, so the past can keep repeating itself. So it causes a lot of confusion. Also, obviously, North Node in Pisces, a lot of flooding of information. We feel lost because there's so much going on. And the confusion, you know. Stop betraying yourself. The new beginnings. There are new beginnings that are opening up to you. Focus on what you want to create. Let's stop creating what somebody else wants us to be created. Okay, and I have quite a feminine dex over here because I just feel a little bit, you know, being Cancer moon, I just had my lunar return. I had Jupiter conjunct my moon yesterday and squared my Mercury, so I feel a little bit like tender. So yeah, I have a lot of feminine dex here. So let's speak to the Priestess of Light from Sandra and Taylor. Again, this is not a deck I use very often, so let's see what this Priestess of Light wants to tell us about the energies we are experiencing at the moment. Okay, is there a card? Okay, the card don't want to come. Okay, there is one. Here we go. Wisdom, learning joy, art and music, number 29. Yeah, the 11, the master number, frequency, and look at the 2 swans, the unconditional love. You know, also the faith. I'm tapping into the faith. And the music. This is very much like, was it Shiva? I don't know. I'm not very good with Hindu, so I could be wrong. But, you know, like, it's probably someone else. But yeah, do forgive me, you know. I can actually have a look at the booklet. But, you know, the connecting the art, you know, this is again a Leo, and also like Venus in Neptune, you know, Venus in Pisces, Neptune obviously in itself, you know, this like connecting to the art, to the joy, to your authentic expression, whether it's through the music, whether it's through the whatever it is, the creative arts, whether it's just from making your podcast or writing something, or like, we all creative beings, we all came here to create, you know, your everyday life is a creation. And you are the creator of it. So it's, you know, your life is a masterpiece. And with the swans, it's like the unconditional love, you know, to this experience, to what is, having this unlimited potential. How can we create, and all these beautiful colors, you know, like there is the turquoise, the blue, you know, the higher chakras, the throat, the heart, the throat, the third eye, and also the gold. She's dressed in gold, which is like this abundance. You know, there is so much to love. There is so much to enjoy about this planet, about being here, about this experience. So why are we just always focusing on this ghost of the past, you know, this ghost of the past, and this, you know, betrayal, like where we felt betrayed and where we had to sacrifice. But I can choose, you know, no more. You know, I'm not giving my consent. Like Lee Harris keeps saying that more and more people will be not in my name. Like, I want to focus on this now. the life of joy. Where can I cultivate more joy and happiness in my life and connect with my soul, with my heart? And and at the bottom is angelic assistant, divine guidance, and loving support. Number six, the balance and harmony. Number six is a Venus number. You are not alone. You are not alone. Call for help. Yeah, the purity of our soul family. There are always those behind us. Like you are the last last one in line of your ancestors, right? So all of them are standing behind you to support you in this process, because when they come back, they want to experience this new world, which is magical and beautiful, and there is more joy to be experienced. It's always been here, it's always been present, but we were just being confused and misdirected, to focus on these other things. Let me just see what goddess is this, because I don't want to offend people if they, follow Hindu religion, because like I said, I'm not very, very good at it. Okay, Saraswati. Here, the goddess Saraswati holds a musical instrument. She stands on the door of the temple, encouraging you to enter a new period of learning and exploration. Oh, very good. So that's this beginning, the period of learning and exploration. This card heralds a time of deepening wisdom for you. It may be gained through personal investigation or through school or other forms of courses of study. Don't miss the potential for learning. There is profound gratification that comes from this pursuit. It's possible that your path will resonate with art or music if you have an interest in other creative endeavors. The swan represents the connection between the mind and the heart. And as you open your mind to greater understanding and to joyous new experiences, in heart will glow with inner satisfaction. In addition, your life force will sing with beauty. Life force, the sun. Grace and irresistible attraction. Affirmation: I always choose to learn and grow. The music and art of life inspires me. Yeah, this is very much this Jupiter. This Jupiter in Cancer, ruled by this new moon in Leo. What is this new moon in Leo bringing to us? The opportunity to grow and expand through our heart connection, which is this like joyous expression. What makes you feel happy? Where do you feel like, oh, this is really me? This is me authentically, like what I say, what I do, what I write, how I dress, whatever. And if you need help, ask for help, angelic assistance. There is a lot of help available, because these are very, very important, very pivotal times for humanity. This is the most important time in your life right now that's going on. This is the most important time for humanity you've experienced for many, many lifetimes. So yeah. So Saraswati. Here we go. Okay, and now we're going to do Cosmic Dancer, because everything is Cosmic Dancing. This is another, like, I don't know, I picked all these like Indonesian decks, and then I have Kuan Yin here as well. So yeah, so that's just again confirming for where I'm going next. Okay, so Cosmic Dancer, what is the advisement for this new moon in Leo? Be present, of course. Be present, be here now. Yeah, because I'm already thinking like, oh, where do I want to go next? And this flower of life, the continuous creation. The creation is happening from the present moment. So be present. Let's stop being pulled into the past all the time, or being pulled into the future. Be here now, because the future is not yet here. The future might change. Things are always changing. But how can we enjoy more the present moment? How can we cultivate more joy and happiness and wisdom learned from the past, but don't need to keep revisiting it all the time? So yeah, be present. Number 23, and yesterday was the 23rd, I believe, right? When we had the Venus-Mars square, 23rd, but also 23, number 5, which is the number of chaos, the chaos engine, the fruit. Like there is a lot of stuff going on in our life that creates like a sense of instability, this fracture, this unpredictability, but that is forcing us in a sense to, this is also what I keep saying about Mercury retrograde, why Mercury goes retrograde so many times a year, because of course Mercury is the Hermes, is the multi-dimensional essence, like how can we travel through different timelines. So anyway, so back to the point, be present. So Mercury goes retrograde so many times because it helps us to break from that loop, from that from that being on that treadmill, you know, the hamster wheel. Yeah. So in a sense, when a chaos happens or things that are unpredictable, this fracturing moment, the tower moment, these things we don't predict, we don't expect, you know, this bam, it makes us to be present. It makes us to be present. Suddenly I have to pay attention, like, oh my God, there is a fire, there is something going on, what's going on, you know? So it doesn't have to happen in that way, but if we don't listen, if we don't pick up the subtle knocking of the universe on our door, you know, then it will get louder. So yeah, but it's all to help us to create this new universe, you know, the flower of life. From the heart space, you can see that the center of the flower of life, it's in the middle, and also the discipline. I feel, be disciplined to show up for yourself every day. Yeah, and at the bottom, clear the vessel. Yeah, of course, again, a lot of healing. This takes me back to this. You see all this water, and she looks like an Aquarius, doesn't she? Doesn't she look like an Aquarius? I mean, she also looks like a little mermaid, Ariel, with the cup. But yeah, she looks like the star card, like the Aquarius. Clear your vessel, number 1. You know, we're going through a lot of healing. Empty your mind, empty the old patterns. You know, that's why we're going through all this emotional flooding, so we can empty it, so we can release ourselves. You know, the star, so you can connect to your future rather than always be bound to the past. And this is happening in the present moment. Be here now to empty the residue of the past, so you can become what you came here to be. You know. Perfect. This is a beautiful deck. Okay, let's get an advisement from Kuan Yin, because Kuan Yin, like the Mother Mary of the East, right? Kuan Yin. And this is Alana Fairchild, so the descriptions are long, but I try to do it simple. And then I have a Rumi deck, so that's going to be our last advisement, and then I close with that. So here we go. Kuan Yin. Kuan Yin, what is the guidance for us with regards to these times of profound healing? Okay. Tai Chi rising. Tai Chi, isn't it the life force? Oh, and this is the cover girl. This is the cover girl. We got the cover girl. Well, that speaks for itself. And 32. I mean, come on. That exactly happened last time. I pulled 2 different decks and we had 23 and 32. 23. Be here now, be present, and Tai Chi, you know, like, again, it's about moving of the life force that can only happen in present moment, you know, all the balancing. And she has the lotus between her legs, right, with the lower chakras, the base and the sacral, connecting us to the earth, you know, but she's also open. You can see the heart chakra is open, and she's reaching to the heaven. So yeah, let's read about this one, Tai Chi. And at the bottom, we have Daughter of the Phoenix. And what it is, number 6. I mean, you can't make this up. Number 6, angelic presence. We have a repeating numbers here. Daughter of Phoenix, rising from the ashes. Yeah, we are all going through this now. We are all going through our own, like, yes, this fire of purification, the fire that is burning down, you know, burning down the residue of the past, the flooding of the emotion, and from that the new will rise. The ashes will be used as a fertilizer, the water, the tears, the grief over the past, that will be used as a you know, to give life, you know, the water give life. So Daughter of the Phoenix. Why? Because we are reviving the life force by burning the past, you know, so we can rise again, create a new story. And yeah, it's like I said, is number 6. Why is that happening? To balance the karma, everything that is out of balance, burning from the past. Yeah, let's do this Tai Chi thing. Tai Chi, this is pretty strong. Yeah, I very rarely use this deck because obviously very long description, and you know, again, I'm not very familiar with the Eastern traditions and religions, so, you know, the cards don't tell me all that much. But yeah, and also she has the crystals, the stones, you know, the ruby, and I don't know if it's emerald or sapphire. Okay, let's see. Your energy field is growing stronger with more spiritual electricity pulsing through your being. Take time to nourish your nervous system as it adjusts, and be gentle with yourself as you adjust to increasing levels of spiritual potency, which gives more impact to your words, actions, and thoughts. Okay, and then is let your energy field continue to grow through chanting, meditation, energy work, healing. Yeah. You have a special light within you, and your elegance, beauty, and refinement of that light wishes to express itself more potently. Okay, I understand now. Yeah, so this is all about that authentic essence of who you are to be able to come through. So we need to move the energy. We need to in a sense, we need to free ourselves from the residue that is blocking the energy, the residue of the past, the stagnant energy, also all the masks, the covers, the labels, all the scaffolding. We have to remove the scaffolding so the true essence of who you are can come through and be expressed authentically to help to create this new beginning, create this new beginning in the present moment through the stillness and the discipline to show up for yourself, the gold, the abundance, to create the abundant universe. So yeah, the Tai Chi, and you see, same thing, she's also sitting in stillness. So yeah, we feel like, oh my God, what do I need to do, and yeah, like it's always good to move the body because of the vessel, and its needs, but the most things actually are being done when nothing is being done. Because when we do more, then there is a more to sort out after. Okay, let's just quickly read the short interpretation of the Daughter of Phoenix. Daughter of Phoenix, the number 6. Let's give her voice too. Wow, this is such a... Alana Fairchild always does her research. Okay, when the soul is ready to spread its wings, it goes through a deep cleansing. Cleansing? Anyone? Cleansing? This is crazy. Cleansing, purification, and preparation for new levels of spiritual wisdom, power, and life. Just like the phoenix that is baptized through celestial fire to be born anew, you are going through such a phase of heavenly purification, preparation, and initiation. This is an advanced phase of soul growth, and soon after you will enjoy greater spiritual peace, divine power, and an advancement on your divine path. Life path. Kuan Yin, daughter of the Phoenix, has been through fire, both physically and heavenly, and has ascended into a position of great spiritual peace, power, and authority. She guides you now to claim your rebirth and ascend. There you go. Beautiful. Very connected. Yes, going through the fire purification so the true essence of who you are can come through. So we clean in the vessel in the present moment. Yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful. We need to stop betraying ourselves and feed the ghost of the past. We need to honor the past, not feed it. New beginnings. Okay, and the final message, I'm going to use Rumi deck. This is a gift from my beloved. This is the first time I'm using this. This is also Alana Fairchild, but it's Rassouli. Artwork is Rassouli, and this is the pocket version, so it's got a little description at the back. Okay, so what is the final message, the final guidance from Rumi with regards to these energies we are experiencing at the moment? Okay, one card, please. Oh, okay, there is a bunch that just all jumped up. But I'm just going to take the one that is at the top. I'll just take the one that is at the top. Okay, commitment. Look at all these beautiful colors. The Rumi art is just beautiful. Rumi, Rassouli. Yeah, open to the fire, facing the fire, following the light with all the beautiful colors of who you are, the whole spectrum. Yeah. Commitment, the awakened heart is like a lantern. Keep it sheltered from the turbulence of the winds of desire. The fear that your desire won't manifest may cause you to try to bend life to your will. It is an unnecessary battle and one that will not serve your soul. Instead, just show up, be present. Show up, be present. Life is not working at cross purposes with you, far from it. Life is a creative co-conspirator with your heart. So yeah, stop micromanaging universe. This is talking to myself. Yeah, a lot of trauma, a lot of control issues over here, a lot of fear. And yeah, and then at the bottom is this one, Blood Angel. In the midst of the darkness, a moon appeared with its brilliance. In opening to receive, you must empty. Oh my God, I mean, you can't make it up. Clean the vessel. You must empty what has been. Grace is not about an exchange of equal measure. You will receive according to the great generosity of life itself. More shall be offered in compensation for what you are willing to release. Allow for a new influx of energy. This to me is again about this. The phoenix and the life force. The more of this residue of the past we release, attachment to the past, the more we empty ourselves and open ourselves to receiving, but also allowing that which is already within us to flow freely. This is so powerful. I'm like literally like, this is touching me very deeply because of what I'm going through. So yeah, at the end of the day, you know, we have a free will, but there is just certain things we are in charge of. Oh, perfect. Then I just turn another card in this cosmic dancer and it says play. You know, just play. That's to me very much like this one. The joy. Play and joy. So yeah, don't take it so seriously. Just be present, right? There is a time for learning and then there is a time for play. Okay, and with that, I would like to close this session. Thank everybody who was present, including all the spirit that was present. Thank you everyone for listening. It's a long one. And yeah, I hope that some of what I shared is helpful to you. And yeah, you're not alone. You know, we are all in this together. It is showing up in different way for different people, but the energy is very strong and everybody is feeling it. So with that, I wish you all a wonderful new moon in Leo after effects. And I'll speak to you again in next video. And yeah, if you would like to book any reading with me, then reach out through my website. Okay, much love everyone and have a wonderful weekend ahead. Bye for now.